This is Suspenders Unbuttoned, a podcast where friends talk with friends about TV, movies, and books.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Suspenders Unbuttoned podcast. My name is Sarah.
And I'm Julie, and we're excited to welcome Chelsea Hobbs to the podcast today. Hi, Chelsea.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
We're so happy to have you here. So thanks for taking time out of your busy Saturday, I'm sure, to talk about dream moms. And I keep wanting to say dance moms.
Oh, me too.
Not dance moms. Dream moms, yes.
I kept saying dream girls. And I was like, that's not right. They kept sending me my paperwork back. And they were like, can she change the name? Because it's dream moms. But
Dream Girls is a classic.
It is. Yes.
Yeah, but it's dream moms. I said to my husband, if I say dance moms, it's gonna be
I had to triple check the edit before we put it out because I'm like, wait a minute, did I just write dream? I'm gonna dance. Anyway, so you're joining us because Dream Moms comes out on Hallmark May 13th. So that is very exciting. This is something pretty different than we normally get on the network. So that's really exciting. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. Dream Moms is about two moms who have sort of they've become dedicated mothers, and they realize that they've put their own dreams aside to be moms, which I think a lot of moms can relate to. And they kind of by chance find an opportunity to get that back.
Yeah. So I love that. So you're playing Claire. Can you tell us a little bit about Claire and what about her character on the movie?
Claire is a single mom, and she has two boys who are 12 and 16, and she used to want to be a Broadway star. So she's a former dancer and is now a mom working in the garment district in New York, and she finds her passion for dancing again in the movie.
I love that. I love that she has a couple of boys too. Like that is not common in a Hallmark movie.
No. And I actually, at one point in my life, I was a single mother when I had my first two. And so I just loved the ability to play a single mom because I've played a mom before, but I've never played a single mom before. So yeah, there were a lot of little things that I asked, Jessica Harmon, our director, to adjust because I could relate and thought that it was, nice little things to add in. So yeah, that part of it was really, really refreshing and nice. I love that Hallmark's telling those stories.
Yes. And I love that this is about two moms kind of coming together and joining forces in a sense to renew their passions and also sing and dance, right? That's fun.
Yeah, first and foremost, when they called me about the movie, they were like, can Chelsea dance? Like, I think they knew that I had a history in dancing, but they wanted to know to what extent if I could pull it off. And I didn't really know much about it. I just knew that it was a movie that involved dancing, and it was going to be me and another female starring in it. And I was nervous. I was so nervous because I didn't know what I was in for. And then when I got the script, I just was so pleasantly surprised at just how fun it was. It was like very Fosse-esque dancing, like very Broadway fun. And so it's an actor's dream.
So tell us about your dance background.
Yeah.
So I danced from when I was 3 years old. Dancing was my first love, my first passion. It's what I wanted to do. And I actually started acting because I had a single mom, and she said that dancing was like tens of thousands a year because I was competing. And she was like, if you want to keep dancing, maybe go out for a few auditions for commercials, and that'll help pay for your dancing. So that's how I got into it. So dancing, jazz, ballet, musical theater, modern, lyrical, tap, like I did it all.
You did it all. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm imagining competitively if it cost.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what was expensive. Yeah.
Right. We both relate to hauling children around competitively. So
yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
Right. A lot of these sports are super expensive and require Sarah's hauling around to dance. I did gymnastics and
Oh yeah.
Baseball and hockey is huge here. So
yeah,
uh,
we're getting into the hockey world on our end as parents, and I'm like, are we doing this?
are we doing that?
It's like a really big,
right,
like commitment, right? Like it's
huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
State of hockey. So it's a huge deal around here, and these are big commitments. And so I love that background though. That's how you got into acting. It was to be dance.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, but as a parent, like you got to do what you got to do. And she always wanted to make sure I was doing it because I wanted to do it, but eventually the acting took the lead for me. And I fell into something that I became really passionate about, obviously. So
I love that your mom came up with ideas of ways for you to continue when working under the limits. Like, what a creative solution for it's not that you can't or we can't. It's like, well, maybe if we do this, what would you think about that? That's a great thinking on her feet and great way to creatively move things forward, right?
Yeah, my mom never wanted to have to say no to us. So she definitely always, she worked so hard to give us everything that we wanted, but also she really wanted us to learn work ethic and accountability. And so I think that was kind of a fun and different way of her also teaching us those things. So yeah.
Absolutely. What was your first job you landed in the acting world?
Gosh. So my first job, I auditioned for a Dairy Queen commercial.
Yes.
And I had a couple auditions and I didn't book them and I was really bummed. And then I remember getting into my mom's like 89 Mustang convertible after school. She was like, guess what?
I'm jealous.
I was like, what? She's like, you got it. And we were screaming and so excited. And so in the audition, I had to be like in a parade. For Dairy Queen, like waving and pretending I was a princess. So I was so excited because I thought I got the role of the princess in the parade. I show up to set and they're like, okay, Chelsea, come this way. We're going to give you your wardrobe. And they hand me a giant strawberry. Not even kidding you. It was this big. It was a strawberry. So I was the strawberry in the parade. I didn't get the princess role. And through the door, like it was a whole thing, but it was a very, very quick lesson for me. And like, okay, this is show business.
All right, you be the best strawberry you can be.
My mom was like, you smile like the princess, but you're the strawberry.
The strawberry princess. I love that.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a good one. So,
all right, I'm going to shift back to the movie because you brought up the costumes. So tell us about the costumes in Dream Moms. I imagine there must be some fun numbers.
Yeah, I mean, the costumes are a bit of a plot point. So I think like through discovering themselves and what this dream and finding it again and working together looks like, they have to also create like they become a unit, the two of them. And so, yeah, they create their image and it starts not like that. But yeah, the costumes, like we have a couple of really, really fun ones. The last one is my favorite. It's kind of got a little bit of a Taylor Swift vibe to it. And yeah, Claire in general is like a very free-spirited girl. So her costumes were all, not your typical Hallmark wardrobe. Like she definitely dressed a little more like not hippie, but
boho word. Like just got a vibe. She's got a vibe.
Yeah.
So
the costumes were really fun. Yeah.
Super fun. The poster is spectacular. So we get to see some of that on the front of the poster that was just released the other day. And I was like, oh, this is fun. So your co-star in this movie is
Tamara Mowry. I was so excited. I used to run home as a kid and watch Sister Sister with my sister.
Yes.
Yeah, she's so lovely.
Right. And she sings. So I did see in the press release she's got 3 original songs that were written for this movie. That is also something we have not really seen in Hallmark.
No, and so I sing in one of them. So this was my first experience singing in anything really. I think I've sang like a little bit in things, but so I got to sing on one of the tracks with her, and it's crazy because they give you this demo where they have someone else sing it. And so we're dancing and practicing to this demo, and we hadn't done any of the recordings yet. So then the day came where they were like, the recordings are done. Like we had both done our part, and then we got to hear it together. And I was absolutely genuinely blown away. Like I had no idea she could sing like that. I guess she was on The Masked Singer, but I don't watch that show. So, so I had no idea, but her voice, and then even when we'd be dancing and we'd have to practice the dancing and singing, and she was singing along to it, like her voice legitimately is really special. Yeah. So, yeah.
So fun.
Yeah. So I'm imagining, because of the singing and dancing, well, I'm curious actually, did you film this in the same amount of time that, you know, these movies are normally filmed, like that 3-ish weeks, or did you have to go in before and rehearse?
Oh, yeah. We had rehearsals, and we didn't get quite as much in the way of rehearsals as we thought we were going to get. So I was really anxious to get to the dancing. But yes, we had a couple weeks, I think 2 weeks of dancing rehearsals beforehand, maybe 3. I feel like it was 2 though. And so we did all the choreography. Melina Runis, I think Runis, I'm totally butchering her last name, but our choreographer was unbelievable. She was very aware of the fact that, like, although we both had backgrounds in dance or performing, it was something that, like our characters, we hadn't done in so long. So she started us, like, she started me with my hardest dance, and just day by day we had to chip away at it, and we had to, you know, go through a lot of the things that our characters would go through. Like, I mean, I used to dance, but you guys, it's been like 15 or 20 years since I've been on stage and had to have that, you know, brain for memorizing choreography. So, yeah, anyway, we had rehearsals, but then we did all of the dancing in the first 5 days of filming. So, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what it's like to film like dances, and how is it more complicated to film, or is it something very different for you as you're performing? Explain the process a little for us.
Yeah, it's you know, you have the ability to fail because you know that they can edit and they can make it look okay if you don't have the whole thing memorized. But when that happens, you really lose the momentum of everything. So we really tried to just treat it like it was a performance. And are you okay? I think my kid's crawling in the background because, sorry.
So fine.
Yeah, so we didn't want to lose the momentum of everything. And so although we were able to fail, you know, we tried to just do it as it was one. But you have different camera angles, so it's a lot more tiring in the fact that you have to do it again and again and again for a 14-hour work day you're dancing. So
right, that's tiring. How about the vocal piece? How is that done? Did you do that in studio and then also film it?
Yeah. Well, like, it was mostly Tamara, and she did all of the vocals in the studio. I did my piece in the studio as well. And then the hardest thing, and I have so much more respect for like Beyonce or any of these singers that dance and sing, is honestly, like, even when you're lip syncing along to a track, it is so challenging because sometimes you're dancing and then you forget to sing and you're like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. Like, they were like, you guys did amazing with the dancing, but you forgot to sing. And we would have to like go back and remember. Yeah.
Right. No, I can totally see that. You know, you're focusing on the dancing, and then, but you're supposed to be dancing and singing, right?
Yeah.
And then they need all the different angles for that. So
yeah.
I know, that's what I was thinking about, all the different angles, and how I feel like with dancing, it has to be a little bit more complicated than just shooting a regular scene. Are there any little Easter eggs or something fun we can look for while watching on May 13th? Which is that Mother's Day?
Nope, that's Saturday.
Okay, the night before.
Yep.
Yes. Okay.
It's Mother's Day weekend. So
Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah. Easter eggs that we can look for in filming. I don't know. Like,
or a particular scene or
Right.
something to watch for.
yeah.
Something fun.
I think just the fun. There's a part where it actually opens the movie and it shows us when we were younger dancing, and I think that was really, really neat. And a lot of that, there was a lot of dancing that I had to improvise, and that was really scary for me because it wasn't choreographed. It was just, okay, like, do some pirouettes and do some jumps. And so that's that. I'm really curious. I haven't seen the movie yet, and I'm really curious to see how all of that stuff turned out, and just to see, the younger version of our characters dancing.
I kind of love that because I think, all dancers can relate to having those childhood experiences, right? And so the pictures and
if you're a fan of Crystal Lowe, she may or may make a little.
That's amazing. Not that she doesn't have a giant following in the.
Yeah, she's incredible. So it's the Make Her Mark, Hallmark's Make Her Mark, and directors. And so she was shadowing Jessica. So we had a female director, we had Crystal on set, and then we had a female DP, lighting, and it was pretty amazing. Like, for this to be a Mother's Day movie about mothers and have like all women making this movie, was pretty cool.
That is super cool.
It is.
We love that process that's happening through Hallmark to develop female directors. Ashley Williams is involved in that, and they are making a conscious effort to give women the opportunity to make that path. And Crystal is, of course, a fan favorite, and so that she's going to show up a little bit in the movie, people will be ecstatic.
I don't want to give any away.
It's become a lot of fun to see some of these cameos in Hallmark's movies. It's become pretty common to see some cameos. So it's always like, who's going to drop by?
Exactly.
Yeah, you really never know. And you know what I'm loving is, as we're talking to you about this, Chelsea, how you've said a few different times that, like your character, Claire, her wardrobe is different than we normally get to see. And then we're hearing about the dancing, the singing, which is different. And then we're hearing about, how this was all made by women. And I love hearing all these little pieces and how things are changing, and how we can kind of expect to see a movie that we're going to love, but it's going to be different.
Yeah. Well, and that's
the same, but it'll be like there's these little elements that are going to make it feel different.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty. It's interesting because what people love about Hallmark is that there is a safeness and a predictability in the stories. Like, it's going to warm your heart, and that it's going to make you feel a certain way, but they're finding a new way to do that and to tell the stories. And they're a little more willing to like tell stories that are a little different. Like, I did The Holiday Sitter with Jonathan Bennett and George Crissa, and that was so exciting to be a part of. And I felt, so happy to see the response from that movie as well. So yeah, they're doing a lot of really cool things.
Yeah, a lot of the movies were pretty formula, and now we're seeing the heart still coming, but a little less of the formula, and getting some different things. And I think singing and dancing is very much people love that kind of stuff, right? We love a good round of singing and dancing. People are going to gobble this up. I feel like this is going to be a big hit. And I think, just being able to relate to women as they journey through life, that's something super relatable. Even if we don't get up on stage and sing and dance like the two of you do, to see that journey, I think is something super relatable. And so we love the changes.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the thing. At the end of the day, so many viewers are female for Hallmark, and a lot of them are mothers. And whether it's dancing or a podcast or writing or, feeling that it's okay to go back to work after having a baby, or going back to school, you know, years later. Like there are so many different ways that women do sacrifice themselves to be mothers. And it's interesting because years later you can realize, hey, this is something that I want to do for me. And to feel okay doing that, I think is a really important message. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that that
Completely.
balance in your life. How do you balance your life, and how does that look? So you're a working mom. There's a lot of working moms watching this. How do you balance that that work home life?
I mean, I don't have a perfect solution. It is hard. Like
that's a great answer, actually. I'm just going to say that.
There's no formula. There's no secret. It's just you just do it, and you know that you're not going to be perfect in that. I think like there are days where I'm on set for a 15-16 hour day. I haven't seen my kids for 5 days. I feel that crazy mom guilt, and you just have to stop and go, you know what? My kids know I love them. I'm doing the best I can do. And me doing this will, number one, make me a better mom because I'll be happier if I'm filling my bucket. And number two, I have a 17-year-old daughter who's like a super strong woman. And I feel like part of that is because she has seen me, do things that I need to do for me and fight for my own happiness a little bit. So
no, I think there's a lot of teaching moments that happen when you're doing those other things, right? Like how does that look as you're going along, and it starts paying out when they are starting to get there and become strong, independent adults. That's the goal, really, is to raise strong.
What kind of message are you sending, right? Like you want to send the message of like, yes, when you're, if you decide to become a mother one day, whether you're a mother or not, like, you know, I want you to also take care of you and do things in your life that you're, passionate about,
right?
Outside of your mom.
Right.
Yeah.
And so many moms like work. Well, I work crazy hours too. Sarah is balancing a lot of things at her house, and we all have to balance those things differently. And you're teaching your kids while you're doing that, the different things. I love that. It's like some days you literally aren't there. Like I miss weekends and holidays, right? Like how do you balance that? And sometimes it comes back full circle when they're young adults, when so they'll see how you do that, and then they are like right there with you. And I'm going to tell you, that's one of the most rewarding things when because you have a 17-year-old who's strong, and I like that's very rewarding. You have to work around that too, but it's very rewarding to see that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just entering the teenage years. My daughter's turning 13.
Hold on.
I know this last year has not been easy, but no. So I'm just in there, but I think what you're saying, even I can relate to, because as she's growing up, and she's learning different things, and she's a ballerina, and she wants to do this and that, and she has to learn how to balance her interest and her home life. And then she gets to watch me do that too. So hopefully we can kind of go on the ride together.
Yeah. Monkey see, monkey do, right? Like, I think, and a lot of our grandmothers or great grandmothers also like, maybe didn't do anything for themselves. And I think that was a generational thing. And I think as women, we're really getting away from that. So that's really cool. Yeah.
Right. How to live your full life, like the whole,
whatever that
all the pieces of your life.
Yeah, exactly. That can, it can look very different for everybody, but
absolutely. Right.
I love that this movie is
of filling your bucket, like we read about in kindergarten class, like filling somebody else's, but it's such an important life lesson in all of our stages. Yeah.
I love that this movie is looking at women with kind of two different things going on in their lives too. So everyone's journey is different. So
totally
feels like a great Mother's Day weekend movie.
It really
they're singing and dancing.
Yes.
So what was your favorite part about making this film?
Oh, I think, well, the irony in it for me is that I was super passionate about dancing. I haven't danced in 15 or 20 years like that. So yeah, there is irony in that. Like I have to say, before I signed on for the movie, I put on my old dance shoes, took my 17-year-old with me, who was a dancer, had an injury, so she hasn't been dancing as much lately. But I was like, I have to go do a dance class, like, to see if I can do this. And like, will you come with me? And so we were both kind of nervous because it had been a minute for her, but a long time for me. And so for me, like, just to do something that I never ever would have done. Like, there's no way I would have just randomly gone into a dance class had this movie not happened. And so it did show me that it's okay. I can do it. And it was scary, but I did it. And now, maybe I'll do some more. Maybe I'll keep doing it. So it was really fun just to revisit that part of my life again.
Yeah. I love that. Because even if I imagine it's scary, it would be petrifying for me to walk into a class right now, like in my 40s, like haven't danced since I was a kid. So I love that you did that.
Yeah, it was terrifying, but then it felt so good, and I was like, I want to go again.
I love that you took your 17-year-old with you too. It's like, come on, we're going.
Yeah. I was like, you're in this with me, girl.
We're in this together.
Absolutely.
Right? So in the movie, do you guys know each other, your character and Tori's character, or
no?
Okay, so that's the process.
Yes, I thought initially that it was like we were old competitors or something, but that's not the case. We just have similar backgrounds. And now we're both moms, but we're, moms with very different lives. Our lives as mothers don't look the same, but we end up realizing that we're more similar than you think.
I love that.
So do we get like a different kind of a meet cute, like when you guys meet for the first time, or like?
Oh yeah. And I don't want to give it away, but I'm actually very nervous for that scene because it was so. I had a few situations that I was thrown into where like they were like, okay, so you're, this is what you're gonna do, and there were no like, there was no choreography or parameters of it. It was just like. So there's a lot of really fun stuff.
Okay.
I love that. Yep. That's
friend cute. Yes.
Very different for sure.
So fun. Well, should we talk a little bit about the other things that you're into, like the BC Women's Health Foundation and Fertility Canada? Can you tell us a little bit about your work in those organizations?
So it's funny because I was asked to be a part of the BC Young Women's Foundation Council. Like they had ambassadors that were working with them and for them, and it was something that as a mother and a mother with children at such different ages, I felt I really could offer a lot in my experiences as well as using my voice. What I did not know was going to happen was I ended up during the height of the pandemic, I had a pregnancy and we ended up getting a midwife, which I've never had before, just because I was like, I don't know what's going to happen with the world. And so thank goodness, because I ended up having an emergency birth at home on my bed. And so that happened. That was a crazy, crazy experience, a very scary experience. And then, I suffered a loss after that. And then I was hospitalized for 2 months almost with my daughter. I had a placenta previa, vasa previa, and a creta. And so then she was in the NICU for 6 weeks. So it was crazy because I ended up as a woman going through so many experiences that I was raising awareness for. And through the experience, through just dealing with not only like the NICU side of things, but being in a women's hospital and the care that I was receiving, learning so much about the risks and the fears and what women go through. it became something that I was so passionate about. So yeah, it's something that just happened. And I think having a 17-year-old and then on the other spectrum, a 1-year-old and every age in between, you know, you want to help people because you can. So
Right.
yeah.
Women's healthcare advocacy is like something that's so needed, in that there are a lot of health things that are not addressed as they always should be. And so I think advocating for those women's healthcare pieces is such an important part of what needs to happen. And young women often don't actually even know, because we're not good at telling them what they need to be advocating for, right? We're as a society and as a healthcare systems, not everywhere. I'm going to say it's not. I'm in the U.S., you're in Canada. Advocating for what women need is a big thing. Women's health has not been at the forefront of the healthcare systems, and so I love that you're involved in that. And women who are low income are often missed at the highest rates. So
yes. Well, and I mean, you look back to, you know, when women were, you know, told that they were hysterical for, you know, many things. And a lot of, I've had experiences as a full grown woman where I've told my doctor something doesn't feel right. And I've had doctors tell me, you know, you're just having anxiety, or you have kids, you're just
a mom, you're tired.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yes, a lot of things are missed. So on that front, you know, just women's health in general, yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then now I'm working with Fertility Canada, and they've been just, you know, their reach and their voice has been growing so much because the stuff that they're doing is amazing. And I think that people are more willing to have this conversation. And that's one of the beautiful things about social media. The good side of social media is that it connects everybody. And
So Fertility Canada, what is their goal for, what does their organization do?
Their organization is raising awareness and just helping connect women and raise awareness about all different fertility causes. So yeah, I mean, fertility struggles can look really different. 1 in 6 people in Canada struggle with fertility. And you know, whether it is a loss or difficulty getting pregnant, a lot of people don't know what to do, where to go. And I know when I was in the hospital, I felt super, super alone, and I was a part of a Facebook group. And, you know, it's like, you just have to figure out how to get through, and connecting with other women it's so helpful when you're going through these things. People are afraid to talk about things that they shouldn't be afraid to talk about. So.
Right. And it's also hard to talk to people that are not dealing with the same thing that you're dealing with. Like the way you found people in the, you know, on the Facebook community, I'm sure they understood exactly what you were going through, and there was no explanation needed. Otherwise, like, you're talking to a friend that maybe has never gone through that, and they're listening, but it's just not the same.
It's not the same. No. Yeah. And so I think that, you know, like, there's like the butterfly run, and there are so many different, Fertility Canada did a 6K, and even, you know, just like having a virtual run and a place to like connect with women and talk, whether it's in person or virtual, it's kind of neat. So
I love that. Oh, and one more piece where we do not do a good enough job educating women and families about like what is available to them in the healthcare setting, that just because you have this doesn't mean you shouldn't be like, what are some of the things you should be connected to and taken care of health wise? Like, once again, women's health issues are often just not addressed or even asked about, right? So the women's fertility is a big thing, and fertility is a complicated healthcare problem. And fertility and loss is
and it affects men too. So, you know,
absolutely. So I was going to say,
when you're working in women's health, and an advocate for women's health, I constantly have to remind myself that, you know, I know when we went through our things, like there wasn't a lot for my husband either. And men feel like maybe less, you know, willing, or they don't know how to talk about the things that they're going through. So fertility and women's health, it doesn't just affect women. It affects the families of women. It affects the husbands or the partners or, you know, whoever. So,
right. No, for sure. It's a very complicated process and complicated problems, and it requires sometimes a lot of testing, but just that people do not even know what exactly they should be asking. And a lot of times their healthcare providers aren't asking them those things either. So I love that you're part of those communities that are bringing education and just information too, right? Advocating for these pieces. I love that. That's love to see your heart for these things. Yeah. And family's clearly important to you.
Yeah. It's so important to me. And it's funny because I kind of took a moment where I stopped and looked around. I was looking through my Facebook feed, my Instagram feed one day, and I realized that a lot of the women that I'm really close to, my dear friends in real life, are women that are, you know, they work in this field. Like they're women that have the heart for women's health in different facets. So it's funny, like, you know, even with this movie, like in finding what your passion is and finding what that looks like outside of motherhood. It's not always what you think it's going to be. And it's not always, you know, so obvious, but sometimes you just pause and you look around and you go, oh, wow, like this is something that really makes me feel so fulfilled to put time into.
I love that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. It's like we got like a little I don't know, rap session going on here. Like,
right.
You know, what's the other word? That's what we used to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have time to play a little game with us, Chelsea?
Sure. I'm scared, but yes.
It's not really a game.
It's
not the worst game ever. It's not a game.
Okay. Not very good at
favorite. So, well, I'll ask you your first one. Do you have a favorite rom-com?
Yes. Oh, see, I'm so not good on the spot. Okay, my favorite rom-com.
Or more than one is fine.
Yeah.
What's the one? Oh, you know what movie I love is the 40. What is it? We just watched it again. This is 40, Leslie Mann.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I think that she's so adorable. So recently that's one that I revisited and I loved. Is that a rom-com? I don't know.
I feel like it counts.
It kind of is. I'm going to count it.
Yeah.
We get a wide variety of answers here. So how about a favorite TV show or a TV show you're binging?
So when I was in the hospital, it was Schitt's Creek. So and I had never seen it. So I had never seen it. And then that show got me through that experience. Yeah. And then of course Friends, and I love all of like Succession and all of those, you know, big on all those big ones.
Yeah. We're getting a lot of Succession lately.
A lot of answers. Yeah.
I'm going to say that we text each other Schitt's Creek gifts back and forth at work. Like we can have entire clinical discussions using Schitt's Creek gifts.
That is amazing.
Fantastic.
That's amazing.
Too funny. Okay, what about a favorite food? Maybe something, you know, indulgent and then.
Well, my favorite food that I could eat every day is sushi. Like I just love sushi. Maybe because it's not something that I can easily cook. I'm a big cook.
Right.
So yeah, I think my favorite foods are ones that I have a hard time making at home. So sushi, and then like I love sweets. I love sweets. So.
What's your favorite sweets?
Yeah.
I'm a big chocolate girl.
Yeah.
And yeah, anything chocolate, you just throw my way.
Perfect.
Now I saw that you have a lot of recipes and cooking on your Instagram. So do you have a favorite thing that you love to make?
My go-to that my family asks for and my kids love is my enchiladas with enchiladas. So yeah, it's like, you know, I can make it with my eyes closed at this point, but it's a family favorite.
Sounds delicious.
That's my favorite. Yes.
All right, favorite drink.
favorite drink, like alcoholic or non-alcoholic?
It's really wide open because of that.
My husband's family's in the coffee business. So coffee is a big in our family. And then, and then I love a glass of red wine. So coffee and wine, is that bad?
Yeah, no, it's perfect. I think pretty much you can just join us every day.
Yeah.
Pretty much the answer around here.
Okay, what about a favorite, like what's your hobby or your favorite activity when you're not working or momming?
When the weather's nice, hiking. So this morning I went on a hike. I live in North Vancouver. So we're like in the mountains, and there's just the most amazing, like it's a rainforest where you can hike and it's beautiful. So so I love hiking. I also love doing a version of Pilates called Legree. So just being physically active, honestly, I that is my mental, that's my church, that's my meditation. It's just I need to connect to myself every once in a while physically.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite band or singer?
Chris Stapleton. I joke he's my boyfriend to my husband. I love Chris Stapleton. Yeah, his voice is just so amazing. We went to his concert, and I
was recently in Vancouver. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. He's unbelievable live, and him and his wife together are like Johnny Cash, and June Carter.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that.
That must be an awesome concert. Yeah.
It really was.
Amazing.
I bet.
And Rihanna. I can't forget Rihanna. Everybody knows I'm like obsessed with Rihanna. So
yes.
Yeah.
Rihanna's always a good answer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
At this point, she's pretty classic now, I'd say.
If like she needs to put out new music, we're all waiting.
Yeah. if you're watching Rihanna now. What about a favorite vacation location?
I haven't traveled in so long. Kids and pandemic. So I think I'd be happy to go a lot of places right now. I love France, and I'm not like a big desert person, but I do love a good beach. Hawaii is always fun. Yeah, I have a big list of places I want to go. So yeah.
What's your dream place to go?
Yeah. I want to go meditate in Tibet.
Well, plus just cultural pieces.
Just put me on a mountain. I think that I definitely would love to visit somewhere that has a really strong spiritual energy. I think that would be really, really a nice experience. My daughter is building a home with Live Different right now in the Dominican Republic. So she got there yesterday. She was sending me photos, and she was like, "Mom, this is so beautiful." And it's a very poor place where she specifically is, but it looks very beautiful there. So yeah,
that's on our list. My husband's family is from Dominican Republic, so I've never been, but it's on the list. My kids have been asking to go.
Yeah.
And since this is a musical-ish movie, we need to know: do you have a favorite musical? Could be a TV, like a movie musical, or even theater.
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know if this is the answer anybody's going to want to hear, but I grew up so in love with Grease, and Grease was
of course.
It was my mom.
Behind you.
I had Grease up.
There you go. So Grease,
where's my Grease album?
You can't go wrong with Grease. That's something that, and The Sound of Music. I definitely grew up watching all of the classics, and
yeah, those are always good answers.
Little Mermaid is also something I'll sing along to any day. So
all the Disney, right?
All those.
All of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
Plus there's new Disney coming out, which you're for sure gonna have at your house.
Oh yeah.
New Little Mermaid with more songs, right?
Yeah.
Right now it's been Matilda the musical on repeat in my house.
Awesome.
My daughter's into that one.
It's a good one.
Well, should we wrap things up so she can get going?
I was thinking that. Yep.
Yes. So, where are you on social media?
I'm on Instagram.
Yeah.
Chelsea X the letter X, Hobbs. I'm also on Twitter, and I've started a TikTok. My 17-year-old is like, I know what I do on TikTok isn't cool, but I'm learning. So I am on TikTok.
Yeah, I love that. But know who your audience is. It's not 17-year-olds, right?
I mean, well, I was, there are some 17-year-olds in there from this gymnastics show I did, Make It or Break It, that people have been recently rediscovering. So I feel like I need to stay a little current. Like I need to figure it out, but it's hard.
I maybe know way too much about Make It or Break It. My daughter was a competitive gymnast. Which is so fun. That's interesting that because everyone can now just dive through streaming services and watch things again. So it's kind of fun when they'll be like, oh, we're watching at our house,
Yeah, it's so cool. It's really neat. Like people are much more they're quick to like get through a show, get over a show, and shows get canceled a lot faster now because of it. But it's really cool when another streaming service picks up a series that you thought was gone and you can discover it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's super fun.
And a whole new generation of
exactly.
Mm-hmm. Love it. So will you be tweeting during the movie?
Yeah, I will.
We'll see you on Twitter.
Yeah, I'll tweet. I'll for sure do a live tweet.
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll tweet along with you.
Awesome.
So that'll be fun. Right. So that's Mother's Day weekend. So the movie is
Dream Moms.
Dream Moms. I was like, Dream.
I was dance not moms. Dream Girls,
not Dance Moms.
Not Dance Moms. No.
Dream Moms, May 13th.
Yes.
On Hallmark.
Yeah. I looked for a time. They didn't actually have it listed yet, but I'm sure it will be 8/7 Central, right?
I think it's 8. Yeah.
Yeah. 8 Eastern. That's what time they do all their Saturday night movies. So I'm going to assume that's for sure.
Perfect. So hold on for 1 second. We'll say bye off camera. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Make sure you watch Dream Moms.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.